thank you for coming out on this cold and rainy night.
All right. We'll get started. I'm Felicia Villafon, and I teach 3rd grade math.
And I'm Katie Gillard, and this is my 3rd year here at St. John's, and I teach 4th grade. I'm the only 4th grade homeroom teacher this year, and I teach math, science, and religion. And I'm also teaching 3rd grade social studies. So Felicia and I share Miss Reyna for language arts, and so it just worked with our schedule for me to take social studies on, which has been nice. I'm beginning to know the 3rd graders too, so that'll make for a nice transition next year.
And I'm Jeanette Peterson. I teach the 5th grade science and math here today. This is my 7th year at St. John's, and it's my 4th year in 5th grade.
Okay, so tonight we just wanted to highlight our curriculum. And one of the things we wanted to point out is that in grades 3, 4, 5, we all teach the same concepts. Just every year we build on those. So we want the kids to have a really good foundation in some of these basics, but then each year they're taken a step or a couple steps further. So if you look here, we all just wrapped up, or the first part of the year we talked about place value. So in 3rd grade it's introduced, and they do numbers up through 10,000. And then in 4th grade, we do up through 100 million. And then once they get to 5th grade, they do all of that, plus they add in the decimals, finding place values of decimals. And then with computation, whole numbers, we start talking about multiplication and division. And so in 3rd grade, it's reviewing the basic facts, and then starting up to 2-digit numbers, and they do basic division. And then by the time they come to 4th grade, we do a quick little review of the basic facts, and then we start doing multi-digit multiplication up to 5 digits, and sometimes more if the kids are ready for more. And then we also do long division. And then by the time they get to 5th grade, they do all of that, and then they also do multiplication with decimals and fractions, and they also do long division with bigger numbers. And then geometry. 3rd grade, they do 3D shapes and their properties. Once they get to 4th grade, we do 3D shapes and geometric figures. And then 5th grade, it's geometric figures. They do transformations, and they start working on formulas. And then data analysis. In 3rd grade, they review telling time. They do basic graphs, work on basic statistics. And then in 4th grade, we do a quick telling of time, but then we move into elapsed time, and then we look a lot at graphs and statistics. And then 5th grade, more elapsed time, graphs, and statistics. We take it a little further.
Adding those decimals in is what they do. So then algebra starting in 3rd grade is pretty basic, just basic function table, basic patterns that will lead to algebra. They start adding expressions and simple equations in 4th grade. And by 5th grade, we're doing some pre-algebra things. We talk about equations and expressions and exponents. The function tables are more complicated. The patterns are more complicated. And then for measurement, they all cover customary metric measurement. They start with perimeters, area, and temperature. 4th grade adds volume. And then by 5th grade, we add surface area. And then a lot of the measurement, we also cover some of the metric and things in science as well as math. And then fractions in 3rd grade, they kind of get an introduction, start with the vocabulary, visually identifying fractions. In 4th grade, they're adding what's proper and improper, starting to compare and order. And 5th grade is a really big year for fractions. This is the year we learn about equivalent fractions, how to simplify fractions, what are factors, what are multiples, comparing, ordering, more complicated, even taking fractions, turning them into decimals and vice versa, and then adding and subtracting fractions. And if students are ready, I do also pull in some of the curriculum from 6th grade, and I'll add in multiplying and dividing, but adding and subtracting is more difficult, so they have to get that down first. And if they do, we move on. So that's kind of where we will challenge those that are ready.
And that goes for all grades. So if a 3rd grader has mastered place value, we might pull some 4th grade material for that 3rd grader to work in like a small challenge group.
Yes.
So you may have seen the 4-step plan for solving word problems come home already. This is the plan that we teach the kids so that they can be successful in solving any word problem. Step 1, understand the problem and what it's asking. Step 2, plan how you're going to solve the problem. Step 3, go ahead and solve it. And then step 4, check to make sure your answer makes sense. And word problems is also where we can challenge students who might need an extra challenge. It could be that they're working on the same concept, but we add multiple steps into a word problem, or we add information that's not actually needed and see if they can pick out the pieces that are needed.
Okay, a typical math class. Typically when the students come in, we correct homework, and we like to have the students check their own work. And that way, if they have made mistakes, they can see right away what they did wrong. And that's a time too where they can, if they got a couple wrong and they're not sure why, they can ask right then and there and then fix. And they always have an opportunity to fix their homework and turn it back in if they need to. But that's a great chance to get questions answered. And then we usually do some sort of warm-up. Maybe it's a problem of the day, maybe it's review, it might be a little game or something to get the kids kind of up out of their seats. We work a lot on engagement, so maybe it's a song or a rap or some kind of thing to get the kids motivated. And then we'll do a whole group instruction. It's probably a new concept, a review from the day before, and then something else is introduced. And then oftentimes we break the kids up into groups. And it can either be a guided math group, or they can do some independent practice, or they might be paired with partners or a small group and they do some sort of practice. And then at the end of each class period, a homework is assigned. And math is one of those things when all 3 of us give homework just about every night, and we always try to allow for some time during class where the kids can get started, get practicing, so by the time they go home they've practiced a few, and if there's questions they have a chance to ask. I know Mrs. Peterson, at the end of the day, they have a little study time where they can get it out and work, which our schedule doesn't really allow for that this year, so we're trying to find time if the kids have questions to fit that in. But ideally, they always have time each day to at least get started, so they're not coming home and not sure what to do.
And then just to kind of review the where you can find these assignments in our homework policy for 3rd through 5th grade. We have these on somewhere in the room or on the boards. We have a planner that the students can copy from, and the math assignments are written on the board. It's the student's job to put it in their planners daily and get it signed. And as Katie said, there's daily math assignments given. Students usually have a little time, like she said, at the end of class just to get started, so we can see if someone's struggling, if they need help. And then R&R time, or sometimes at the end of another class, if they finish early, instead of reading, they could use, I always call it using your time wisely to get some work done. And then if a student does come in without their work done, this is what 3rd through 5th grade uses. It's called a late homework slip. And it's just kind of a reminder for them and a way for us to track, is this a one-time thing? Or are we working on organizing our papers? It's just they forgot to do it, they left it at home even though it was done, or they didn't understand it, didn't have the materials, just so we can kind of check in with students. So if you see this, sign it. And they have to have 3 of these to have a consequence, and that is on Friday Fun, whether in some grades that's weekly, or some it might be every other week or once a month. We have kind of a catch-up day. Those that maybe are behind or have had some late slips, we'll just work with one of the teachers, kind of have some smaller group one-on-one time, and then the other students will go and have some free choice time. So we try to fit that into the schedule.
Great. We covered some of this already, but our big goal as a math team this year is to really work on differentiated instruction, which means teaching each student at the level that they can succeed and work at. And so before every chapter, we do a pre-assessment of each student. So we just finished up place value, so we'll be giving a pre-test on addition in third grade. I don't know what you guys are doing next. So we use what we see on the pre-tests along with the NWEA testing that the students are just finishing up to kind of put them in groups to work on similar skills with other students. We do pull small groups for some instruction, usually at a table in the classroom, and then they also work with that group in math centers where they might have an activity or a game to practice. We also differentiate in homework depending on the class in general. If the class is working on the same things, they'll have the same homework assignments, but it just depends on where every student is. Third and fourth grade use IXL. That's a computer program where students can get individual practice on the skills that they're working on. And then fourth and fifth grade are using Khan Academy, and I'll let you explain that.
Yeah, we have, this year the Archdiocese, the whole Archdiocese is doing a training program from Khan Academy. The professionals from there are coming out. We had one before school started. It was both Katie and I went to that, and we'll be going to one in about 2 weeks, another one. And what this is we're kind of doing a program where our students are part of this project that they're kind of checking to see if we use their NWA scores and put those into Khan Academy where they're at, if we can specialize just what they need to work on and see how that affects their test scores. So we are sharing those with them anonymously without giving any names, and then they're tracking to see how this helps. And so we've committed to 45 minutes a week that we will use Khan Academy in the classroom or with assignments with students. And students also have the ability for both of those, that they can go online and they can work on those at home. In IXL, the teacher assigns the program. In Khan Academy, they have a mastery program where students can work on skills that are in Khan Academy. And also as teachers, we can pinpoint specific assignments we want for students. And that's another place where we'll use differentiation. We'll go back, and if we've covered something and we need to review it, or someone looks like they need more practice, we can do that. And if someone is understanding and they're ahead, we can push them to do some higher level work on Khan Academy as well. So it's used in many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a little game we're going to show you guys. We just kind of wanted to give you an idea of some of the things that we like to do with our kids to kind of get them up and moving before we start a lesson. So this is a game. It's called Salute. We're going to do it with multiplication.
We'll do it with
Okay.
multiplication. And some of the games we have just used basic cards. This is kind of a neat game because it gets students talking. Every child is involved, even the person who's says salute. Although it is sometimes gets noisy, but they love to play this. So if I was going to be working on multiplication, I would have these two take the cards and I say salute, and they put it on their forehead, and then I, as the caller, have to do some math too, because I have to figure out what the product is. And when we do this, we have the students use those vocabulary words, because a lot of times they know how to multiply, add, subtract, but when they see find the product, find the sum, find the difference in word problems, they're like, I don't know what they're asking me to do. So this is a practice where I'll say, I'm going to be listening for the word product while you're playing the game. So I'd say the product of these two numbers is 28.
And then we look at each other and try to figure out what number's on our head.
Like what times 4 is going to equal 28?
Yep, so they're doing
And then you say
division,
what times.
figuring out.
Is that
4.
And then vice versa, we can use this